Welcome to Bed Crime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T, and if true crime is your jam, and like me, you enjoy delving into unsolved cases, trying to figure out who done it, please consider subscribing. Also, if you enjoy my videos, please hit that like button. Hello everyone, happy Saturday. One of my viewers left me a comment about her experience meeting Candus and Candy Harer about 2 weeks after Summer went missing. Dawn was not with them at the time. In her note to me, the viewer referred to Grandus as Grandy. She described her interaction with Candus and Grandus as follows. From Candus, I got the feeling she was conflicted and confused. I felt like Candus wanted to talk, but didn't know how. When Grandus shook my hand, I felt pure evil. I had talked with Candus for 30 minutes. After shaking Grandy's hand, I got to my car as soon as possible and wanted to leave. Never felt that before. Haven't felt that since. They were in Grandy's vehicle that day. It's held together with duct tape and it's filthy. Now, I don't care about duct tape. It once held my bumper on, but it wasn't seen. Point being, didn't seem she cared at all what her vehicle looked like. Oh yeah, and Grandy tried to cry and couldn't. End quote. Take that as you will. It adds another layer to our portrait of Candy Harer. I believe there are depths to Harer that none of us are privy to. And it would be fascinating if we could learn more about her childhood and life and her secret life. I do believe that if a person is in tune enough with his or her emotions and instincts, and he or she is paying attention, it's possible to detect evil in another human being. Maybe it's a cold, black look in the person's eyes. Maybe it's an overall vibe the person is giving off. But I have to believe there are signs if we are present enough to drink them in. But then, of course, there are some people who are so skilled in deception and manipulation that their evil is nearly impossible to detect. Those are the scariest ones. Ted Bundy comes to mind. Before his death, Bundy confessed to murdering 30 people across the United States, and those are only the ones he confessed to. The actual number could be much higher. According to forensic psychologist Daryl Turner, Bundy was successful as a serial killer because he was able to blend in and earn people's trust by appearing ordinary. Turner wrote, I think it's important that people understand that Ted Bundy was successful because he was so ordinary. But more than that, he was charming and handsome and a charismatic young man. End quote. Turner pointed out that Bundy was a psychology student and a law student and worked on a Republican presidential campaign, a suicide hotline, and a campaign for a governor of Washington. He was likable and appeared successful, which is what made him so dangerous. He also had looks that many people found appealing, which helped him get access to potential victims. Young women in particular were drawn to him. Daryl Turner believes that there will always be individuals who have sick interests like Ted Bundy's, but that we can educate ourselves about killers like Bundy to help prevent ourselves from becoming victims. Turner's advice is this: if something doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right for a reason. Don't let others guilt you into going somewhere or doing something that feels off. Our instincts are there for a reason. End quote. I'm a huge believer in trusting in one's instincts. I've taken off running more than once when I found myself facing a potentially dangerous situation. One time after a rehearsal for a play I was in, I left the theater all by myself. The other performers were still rehearsing. The theater was on a large, sprawling property, and the parking lot was a bit of a hike away, up multiple sets of stairs outside. There was no one else nearby. As I started up the steps, 4 guys suddenly appeared at the top of the stairs. I kept walking up, but then I got a really bad feeling. Something about them, about the way they were looking at me, made the hair on my arm stand up. I thought for a second about how silly I would look to them if I turned around and started running. But then my gut told me that that was exactly what I needed to do. So I spun around and sprinted as fast as I could back to the theater. My heart was racing all the way. I'm pretty sure I collapsed as soon as I got inside the door. I don't know if anything bad would have happened if I'd kept climbing the stairs. Maybe not, but I wasn't willing to take that chance. I, for one, believe in the power of instinct. Is Candy Harer evil? Possibly. We know she abandoned her daughters when they were young. That's not something most mothers do to their offspring. It kind of goes against a mother's natural instinct to abandon her children. We know Candy Harer abandoned Candus a second time when she jetted away from 110 Ben Hill Road after Summer went missing. Did she play a role in Summer's disappearance? I believe she did. I'm not saying that I think she hurt Summer per se, but I do think she knows what happened and she knows where Summer is. And if I'm right about that, it would take a certain degree of evil to go along with a plot to disguise whatever happened and to allow a 5-year-old granddaughter to be discarded somewhere in the hills of Tennessee. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.